Right now, inside your intestines, a war is happening. Trillions of bacteria, some working for you, some working against you, constantly competing for space, for food, for control over your gut environment. And here is something almost nobody knows. There is one specific vitamin, one that most people already have in their kitchen cabinet right now, that plays a direct, measurable role in deciding which side wins that war. Stay with me, because this is not another generic gut health video telling you to eat more yogurt. We are going to walk through the actual mechanism, the actual receptors, the actual reason this one nutrient has such a powerful, targeted effect on your gut bacteria, both the harmful ones and the beneficial ones. And by the end, you're going to understand exactly why this deficiency might be silently sabotaging your gut health right now without you ever realizing the connection. The vitamin we are talking about is vitamin D, and I know what you are thinking. You have heard about vitamin D for bone health, for immune function, maybe for mood. But almost nobody talks about its direct relationship with your gut bacteria, and this connection is far more powerful than most people realize. Here is where we begin. Deep in the lining of your intestines, your cells contain something called vitamin D receptors, and when vitamin D binds to these receptors, it triggers your intestinal cells to produce a specific class of proteins called antimicrobial peptides. Think of these peptides as your gut's own internal security force, naturally produced compounds capable of directly disrupting the cell walls of harmful bacteria, while remaining far gentler toward the beneficial strains your body actually wants to protect and cultivate. This is not folklore, and it is not a supplement company's marketing claim. This is documented, measurable biology happening inside your intestines right now, and its effectiveness depends almost entirely on one factor most people get completely wrong: whether your vitamin D levels are actually sufficient in the first place. Let us walk through exactly how this mechanism works, because understanding the full picture explains why vitamin D deficiency has become so strongly linked to gut health problems in recent research. When your vitamin D receptors are properly activated, they do more than just trigger antimicrobial peptide production. They also play a critical role in maintaining the integrity of your gut lining itself, specifically the tight junctions between the cells that make up your intestinal wall. Here is why this matters so much. These tight junctions act like a security checkpoint, controlling exactly what is allowed to pass from your intestines into your bloodstream. When vitamin D levels are sufficient, these junctions remain properly sealed, maintaining what researchers call gut barrier integrity. But when vitamin D is deficient, this barrier can become compromised, sometimes referred to informally as increased intestinal permeability. When this happens, harmful bacteria and their byproducts gain easier access to your bloodstream, triggering low-grade inflammation throughout your body, inflammation that has been linked to everything from digestive discomfort to more widespread metabolic disruption. Here is where the story becomes even more interesting. Vitamin D does not just work against harmful bacteria directly. It also appears to selectively support the growth of certain beneficial bacterial strains, particularly ones responsible for producing short-chain fatty acids, compounds your gut lining actually uses as a primary fuel source. This creates what researchers describe as a favorable shift in your overall gut microbiome composition, essentially tipping the balance of that ongoing bacterial competition we discussed earlier in favor of the beneficial strains, while simultaneously making the environment less hospitable for harmful ones. This explains something that has puzzled researchers for years: why vitamin D deficiency shows up so consistently in people dealing with various digestive and gut-related concerns, and why restoring proper vitamin D levels frequently correlates with measurable improvements in gut symptoms, sometimes within a matter of weeks rather than months. Here is the uncomfortable reality behind all of this. An enormous percentage of people across nearly every country studied walk around with insufficient vitamin D levels without ever knowing it, particularly if they spend most of their time indoors, live in northern climates with limited sun exposure, or simply have never had their levels properly tested. This means the exact mechanism we just walked through, the one responsible for producing antimicrobial peptides and maintaining your gut barrier, may be operating at a fraction of its actual capacity in a significant portion of the population, quietly undermining gut health in a way most people never connect back to something as simple as sunlight exposure or a basic vitamin. Now let us talk about how to actually address this. because understanding the mechanism only matters if you know how to apply it correctly. The first and most reliable step is getting your vitamin D levels tested through a simple blood test. Since supplementing blindly, without knowing your baseline, makes it difficult to know whether you are addressing an actual deficiency or simply adding an unnecessary supplement to your routine. If your levels do come back low, sunlight exposure remains one of the most effective ways to restore them naturally. Roughly 15 to 20 minutes of direct sun exposure on your arms and legs, several times per week, allows your skin to produce vitamin D through a completely natural process, without any supplementation required at all. For people in northern climates, or during winter months when sufficient sun exposure simply is not realistic, a vitamin D3 supplement becomes a reasonable option, though the correct dosage varies significantly based on your current levels and should ideally be guided by your test results rather than guessed at randomly. Pairing your vitamin D intake with a source of healthy fat improves absorption significantly, since vitamin D is fat-soluble, meaning it requires dietary fat to be properly absorbed into your bloodstream rather than passing through your system largely unused. Alongside addressing vitamin D directly, supporting your gut bacteria with fiber-rich foods creates a complementary effect, since the beneficial bacteria we discussed, the ones vitamin D appears to selectively support, rely on fiber as their primary food source to actually multiply and establish themselves throughout your gut. Give this combination several weeks of consistency before expecting to notice significant changes, since bacterial populations in your gut shift gradually rather than overnight, even once your vitamin D levels themselves have been restored to a healthy range. This is not about replacing medical care if you are dealing with a genuine digestive condition, and it is not a magic solution for every gut-related concern. But for the enormous number of people walking around with an undiagnosed vitamin D deficiency, understanding this connection between a simple, inexpensive vitamin and the trillions of bacteria living inside your gut represents one of the most overlooked, foundational pieces of gut health available, hiding in plain sight the entire time. If this changed how you think about vitamin D, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel grow. Subscribe if you want more real science explained simply, no gimmicks, no shortcuts, just how your body actually works. And tell me in the comments, have you ever had your vitamin D levels tested, and are you getting enough sunlight this week? I will see you in the next video.